Good morning. I welcome you warmly. We are starting another project and today, at first glance, a material like plywood is used, which I sometimes reach for. "12 mm plywood, but quite interesting, because it is very light and will be suitable for whatever we want to do. We cut, format to the millimeter. Finally, there is a large format saw. I make in hand for the upper element of the cabinet. I was curious if we could squeeze it in because the cutter is 12 millimeters and the material too. But if it bends a bit with the paper, it is able to push one element into another, so we'll survive it somehow. What's next? Here, Arak polishes these formats, because these plates have been standing there for some time, so they have already caught some dust. Grinder, flash action and ready. First pass. I was curious if we would be able to squeeze it all in, because here the construction of the cabinet itself is not quite so standard. We do it without glue, dry, to check if everything will fit, and it seems that it should rather be. We can take it apart again. Here's another item we'll need. What do you think it will be used for? We have a pretty tough exotic here. It is prepared on a planer. Then we transfer it to the thickness gauge. We have perfectly parallel planes on both sides. Then a format saw, we cut it into quite narrow slats, and these will be our guides. Guides this time for drawers, because in this cabinet there will be 4 drawers of the same size. I thought we weren't going to use any other track systems, just make it all wooden. Of course, depending on the thickness of the side walls, you can make the guides in different ways. But here it will be done in such an arrangement that the slats that are being machined now will support the drawers. Back instead of going into their sides. It seems to me that this is a nice way. You don't have to play with the ribs and the sides. This is an important element of the whole work, that is the parallel arrangement of the guides into sides. I use a device that has 3 fixed stops, because the 4th shovel goes on the bottom of the body. And these 3 stops set the dimension. This layout you saw is translated from the left side of the left side to the right side of the cabinet. And then we are 100% sure that the drawers will not swing. This is probably the biggest problem, that if someone does it inaccurately, we put the drawers in, or a shelf, and suddenly it turns out that something does not work. Another format cut. I covered the material for the drawers. In order not to waste time, we switched to gluing the first body for a second. The top is glued, and the back will be glued. We have tiny nails that are driven in automatically, but there is also glue there. Remember to check the diagonal, because it may turn out that these clamps are somewhere. Or there was a strange angle when folding it. Now we start building the drawers. I was wondering how to build the drawer boxes themselves, and I thought that I haven't used this device yet, so we'll do it on a panther router. And we will make a typical carpentry connection, that is a finger connection. It's super easy to do. I wanted to be able to do several sides at the same time. I could fit 2 drawers into 3, but I wanted there to be no tears from the top and bottom. That's why it was made in 2 pieces. Now I make a groove for the bottom of the drawer. We will make everything from a regular ADF board, that is 3 millimeters. The kerf of the saw is 3.2 millimeters, so you can squeeze it all in, although it is not easy. Sometimes be careful, because ADF can also draw moisture, and this dimension will increase. And then you'll have a problem, just like me. To avoid this, I fold the edges again with paper, and then I can start gluing. Although the bottom is only 3 millimeters thick, with this size of drawer, when we have a groove on each side, the bottom should not sag, which will be a problem with larger drawers. Remember when gluing the box to check the diagonals. The last stage of work remains, which is a bit time-consuming, because here we have varnished. I opted for a polyurethane varnish in 2 coats, so I think it took almost 2 days for it all to dry. After screwing, we have drilled holes in the fronts, in the boxes, and we can start assembling. The handles are made of exotic slats, milled or chamfered. It grips very well. It doesn't matter from which side of the drawer, you can safely pull it out. From the bottom, I have the heights of the fronts measured and made so that it will fit. The issue of attaching the drawer fronts to the box, from the bottom I had 1 millimeter, and later I use it. From plastic printed stencils, these are 2 millimeters, I have different ones, and these are 2s, so the gap is 2 millimeters. Going from the bottom it's simple, but we'll get to the top drawer and here I'm not sure. Do I use special devices that catch the front from the side and then position it? To the box, set it as it fits, catch it with 2 screws and it's ready. You see, the cabinet is done, the drawers work, everything was measured to the millimeter. And it actually worked. I have a design done in SketchUp so I can recreate it. This cabinet for more planers that will arrive soon. This will be a place of work for some of you. For people who want to visit Domi Druno, what equipment will be here, I think in the next episode. I'll show you because it's going to be loaded a lot. Mega tools. I would like to ask myself whether it is worth playing in such a furniture building. So we have 100% wood, or blockboard, or plywood plus solid wood, instead of, for example, system or ball guides. I do not mention roller guides, because it is a total failure. We've got a drawer. If I smear it with wax, it will be an indestructible thing. The best mechanisms to buy, where we have a drawer with guides, then we have full hearing. Or a quiet house. I would rather not use it here, but it would be worth counting your time. To create such a piece of furniture, a line, for example a system drawer, where we have practically the entire drawer, and send it to the cores, it may turn out that your working time is more valuable than a ready-made set. It depends on you. I wanted to show it made in this technique. We have a 20mm top at the top. It is sheathed on 3 sides. If we have any tools, for example tool holders, we can throw them in on the shelf and it won't hurt anyone. Also, through the holes from the holders, hole chips. Whether the dust, instead of falling into the drawer, falls to the surface, and that it is closed on 3 sides. Then after work we can vacuum it up. And that's all. Cabinets as painted finished. I cordially invite you to the next recordings, and traditionally remember about likes, subscriptions, and comments. This is your tribute to us, that is Domi Druno. See you. Hi. Music.